Hey guys, Namaste. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Tutor Pratik. Today we are starting new topic in our YouTube channel. We are going to learn web designing full course. As a startup, we are starting today the concept and introduction about web designing. Before starting this video, please subscribe our YouTube channel and share and like the video. Now let's start today's video. Introduction to web designing. Web design is the process of creating websites. It encompasses several different aspects, including web page layout, content production, and graphic design. Websites are created using a markup language called HTML. Web designers build web pages using HTML tags that defines the content and metadata of each page. Concept of web page. First of all, let's have a concept about web page and website. Web page is a single page layout of any website. As in website, we have several web pages. Each pages have different views. Just for example, in the website thepratik.com.np, we have 4 files, and each files are as web page. And concept of website is a collection of web pages. Just we can compare website as a folder which contains several files, and each files can be compared as a web pages. How to design web pages? Some web designers prefer to hand code pages typing HTML and CSS from scratch. Most of the designers use some text editor softwares to type manually HTML and CSS codes to design web pages. HTML and CSS is the basic structure of any web design, while someone uses WYSI/WYG editor like Adobe Dreamweaver. WYSI/WYG stands for what you see is what you get. Softwares like Adobe Dreamweaver auto-generates HTML and CSS codes. Just we design web pages graphically. This type of editors provides a visual interface for designing the web page layouts, and the software automatically generates the corresponding HTML and CSS codes. Content Management System (CMS). Another most popular way to design websites is with a content management system like WordPress or Joomla. These times, most of the bloggers use these CMS softwares like WordPress, Joomla, or a Blogger to make their websites. These services provided different website templates that can be used as a starting point for a new website. This is the easiest way if you want to create some blog and you don't know any idea about web designing. Then this content management system CMS will be the best idea for you. You can just install the CMS in your system and choose the templates what you like. Then your website will be ready in few seconds. As we are learning web designing, we also need some graphic designing skills. While HTML and CSS are used to design the look and feel of a website, images must be created separately. So for the images, videos, and extra features, we need third-party softwares. Some graphics programs like Adobe Photoshop even includes a Save for Web option that provides an easy way to export images in a format optimized for web publishing. What we learn in web designing. In our YouTube channel, we are going to learn HTML5, CSS3, JavaScript and jQuery. These are the most popular and latest courses of web design. Introduction of HTML. Before starting to this video, I request all of you please subscribe our YouTube channel and please like and share how much you can this video, that everyone can able to reach this video and learn something new. So let's start to this video. HTML is a markup language usually primarily to create hypertext web pages which are published on the web and displayed in any browsers. A markup language is a setup of notations that specifies how the content should look in the browser. HTML's evolution starts from 3.0 and 3.2, after then 4, and now it is on HTML5. Layout of page in HTML5. Basically, in before days, table and div tags are usually used to design the layouts. But after now, HTML5, we have new features with headers, navigation, sections, headings, aside, footers. These types of tags now available in HTML5, which is inbuilt in the HTML5, so we can use this type of tags to design layouts. What are the new features of HTML5? There are a lot of new features in HTML5 that we can use it very easily. First of all, the canvas element is used for 2D drawings. In HTML5, we can draw 2D drawings by using this canvas element. New content specified elements such as article, nav, header, footer, section, and so on helps to structure the document. And also now HTML5 has local storage support. Also, the audio and video elements is available for media playback in HTML5. New form controls such as calendar, date, time, email, URL, search, and so on have been provided by HTML5. Elements of HTML. An element organizes the content in a web page hierarchically, which forms the basic HTML structure. It consists of tags, attributes, and content. For example, body title equal to web, this is body, and body tag closing. This full syntax is called elements. Tags, attributes, and values. Tags denote the start and end of HTML element. Tag includes by, the less than, and the greater than signs. Closing tag is same as start, but the forward slash precedes. Attributes are as properties type of tag. Values are the values for those attributes. For example, in an element P, there is a class which is attributes name, and the given FOO4 is a value for that class. Doc type. The doc type element informs the browser the HTML version number of your document. It is the first declaration in the HTML5 document before other codes. We type the doc type code in the start of our coding. The new HTML5 doc type declaration is as follows: like / bracket and exclamatory sign, and type DOCTYP doc type in capital letter and then HTML and close the bracket. Basic tags. Normally in our HTML we use these basic tags: HTML, head, title, meta, link, script. HTML is the main main container of our coding. For example, we can check while we started in doc type HTML, after then we started the HTML. This is the main container of our HTML coding. After then we have heading. Heading consists of following: title, meta, link, and scripts tags. Meta tags are used for various purposes. Like this meta tag, with UT of 8 is must using meta tag, which supports a lot of alphabets. Title tag is used to give a title to our web page. And the link and scripts are used for link any style sheets or any JavaScript files. HTML entities. Entities are special characters that are reserved in HTML. These entities can be displayed on a HTML5 website using the following syntax. We can use these entities by entering the code ampersand entity name or ampersand has entity name and semicolon. For example, if you need non-breaking space, you have to type ampersand NBSP semicolon. Or you can type its entity number ampersand has 160 semicolon. In this way, for lesser than and greater than ampersand, there is their respective entity name and entity numbers. The text content of a web page forms an important part of a website. The text content must not only be informative but also be attractive. It must be easy to read and must have short and crisp sentences for easy understanding of the web user. To attract the attention of these users, heading must be appropriately provided. Also, text formatting options such as bold, italics, subscripts, superscripts, and so on must be applied on the text. That's why we need formatting of text. Heading tags. The heading elements define headings for content such as text and images. They specify a hierarchical structure of a web page by grouping the contents into different headings. HTML defines 6 levels of headings that ranges from H1, H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6. The H1 element specifies the top level heading, which is displayed with the largest size. The H6 element specifies the lowest level heading, which is displayed with the smallest size. Software need for HTML. For coding the HTML, we need simple softwares like a notepad that we can have in our Windows as a default. Or if you want some advanced type of text editors, you can download Notepad++ or Sublime Text or Brackets, etc. You can find these softwares on Google. Before starting our coding, first of all, we need to create one folder as a website. For this, I'm going to create one folder on my document. And I open that folder in the Sublime Text. After then, we need to create web pages on this folder. For this, I'm going to create one new file and save it as index.html. Now starting our HTML code with HTML tag. This is our basic syntax of HTML5. We have already doc tag and the HTML tag as a main container. After then, head section and body section. We already learned about the head section in our earlier video. From today, we are going to learn the tags that used in our body section. Let's start coding. We have some heading tags in our body, like we used H1 and H1 headings and H2, H3, H4, H5 and H6 heading tags. Let's check what's the output we have. Here we have the output of our HTML coding. The first heading one is of the largest size of the heading, and the last one H6 heading is the smallest one. And similarly, the headings 2, 3, 4 and 5 are little bit lesser than the previous headings. After then, for formatting the contents like making bold, italics, underline and so on, we have another tags. Now we have some formatting text tags in our body. For example, if we need to bold any text, we can use this B tag. Or if we need to make italic, we can use I tag. Similarly, if we need the underline, we can use the U tag. And for making strong emphasis the text as compared to its surroundings, we can use a strong tag. For to make any text as a subscript, we can use sub tag, and for superscript we can use SUP sub tag. Now save our coding and let's check it in our browser. Here we can see the text enclosed by our B tag is bold, and the text enclosed by the I tag is italic, and enclosed by U tag is underlined, and the text that enclosed by the strong tag is little bit emphasized as compared to its surrounding. And here for writing these types of scientific equations, number 2 is need to be a subscript, so we use SUB tag for this type of equation typing. Similarly, for some algebraic equations, while we need some superscripts, we can use SUP tag as a superscript. A list is a collection of items which might be organized in a sequential or unsequential manner. You can use a list to display related items that belongs to a particular category. For example, to display the types of computers such as mainframe, microcomputers and laptops, you would organize these items. We need some list tag to display in our web page as an organized manner. So let's start how to code the list in HTML5. Now we have simple structure of ordered list code. Let's check it out how it displays in our browser. Cool. Like we have now 1, 2, 3 number order list. If you want to change these numbers as a Roman number or alphabetically ABCD, you can change it as in our code. Just adding the attribute to the OL tag, type equal to, and value what you want. If you want the Roman, you can use the I as an initial Roman number, and if you want some alphabetical order list, you can type the initial alphabet like A, or you can type capital A if you want to capitalize ABCD order list. After then, save it and let's check it in our browser. Now we have two order lists with Roman and with capital alphabets. In this way, you can just change the type what you want for your order list, and you can make your list as per your requirement. But sometimes you don't like to show the numbers in your list. You want some figures, some bullets as on your list. Then we use unordered list. For unordered list, we use UL tag, and the list for the items is same as for the order list. We use LI tag for making our items under the list. Now save it out text codes and check it in our browser. Now we can see in the first we have unordered list and have a bullets of black dots, as we done in our other list. By changing the numbering of our list, we can change the figures on our another list too. For this, in our code, we just add the attribute type and we can give the value for the figure that displays in our another list. As a default, it is a black dot. As one of the type for another list, we can use a square. Let's check it in browser how it looks. Now we have black square in our another list. In this way, we can change the another type for our another list. Let's make this square to circle. Save it and let's check it in our browser. Now we have a circle as a bullet in our another list. In this way, we can make our another list or other list as per our requirements. Along with this, we have another type of listing, that is definition list. In this definition list, we start with the tag DL as a definition list, and under this we have two tags. One is DT, which is used for definition title, and another DD is used for define that title. So we have two definition lists for now. Let's check it out how it looks in our browser. Now we can see we have a types of nouns and we use this definition list. One is the common noun, proper noun, and automatically pasted in the front of the definition details. Also, we can make this definition title bold by using our bold tag. Now I added B tag on the definition title. Let's check it out how it looks in our browser. Now it looks little bit nice than before. In this way, we can use any type of listings in the HTML by using this UL tag for another list, OL tag for other list, and for list items we use LI tag for each items of that other list. And for definition list, we start DL tag for making definition list, and under this definition list we have two tags. One is DT. DT is used for definition title and DD is used for definition details. HTML provides background properties that specify the background color and the images for the web pages. We can use a background property for a web page, or we can use a busy color attribute for any tags to give the background color on them. And similarly, we can change the color of the text of any tags or whole body as per our requirement. For example, if we need to change these text colors of whole body to any color like red or green, just we have to add one attribute on our body. For this, on our body tag, we add an attribute called text and give the value which color you want. Like we can just type the name of the color like red. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Now all the text of our body became the red color. In this way you can change to another color, just changing the name of the color like green. And save it and check it in our browser and refresh the browser. Now it's in green color. We can give the value of a color in various terms, like just we done by giving the name of the color red, green, yellow, purple, cyan, something like the name of the color. But while we need some little bit light or darker or something else color, we can use hash code. We can use hex number for this. For example of hex number, to get the red color, we can use hash and hex number for red is FF and 0000 and save it, and let's check it in our browser. Now our color became red. Here we can understand the hash sign indicates it's a hex number, and first two letters is used for the color red. We start from 0 and the maximum value will be F. Similarly, second two digit is for green color and the last two digit is for blue color. Similarly, we can give the background colors in our body. For this, just we add one attribute BG color, and on this value we will give color name or this like hex numbers and paste it. And for text color I am going to give shine. Let's check it out how it looks in our browser. In this way you can make any background colors as per a requirement. But yes, it looks some difficult to give these numbers to get your exact color what you want. So to solve this problem you can use any third-party softwares, like we can use a Photoshop. Go to the Photoshop and choose the color which you want. Like if you want this types of color, and just select that color and you can get this hash code over here. Just copy this hash code and paste it in our code. Now save it and let's check. Now we have the same color what we copied. Now if you want any pictures in your background instead of color, for this just we have to add the attribute background, and on this value just give the address of that image which you want to make as background of your web page. If you want to make this image as your background, first of all copy this image and paste in your website folder. And then copy the image name and just paste it in the value of background. Save it, and now let's check it out in our browser. Yep, we get that image in our web page as a background. Similarly, if you want some gradients in your web page as a background, you need to use little bit of Photoshop. Just go to your Photoshop and create any gradient what you like. Now just use the single column marquee tool and click on this and copy this and make one file and paste it in and save it in our website folder. Let's name it bg.jpg. After then, let's go to our coding. Now change the name of the image. We gave the bg.jpg for our new image. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Yep, now we got the gradient as in our background of our web page. As we know, in HTML we use a number of tags to design our web page. Among those tags we have two kinds of tags. One is pair tags and another is single tags. The pair tags need to close with ending tags. For example, while we use h1 tag, we need to close H1 tag by its ending closing tag. Similarly, for the body tag, it has also an ending tag. These kinds of tags which needs starting and ending tags and always in pair are called pair tags. But while we have some single tags which do not need any ending closing tags. Single tags are those tags which use only one starting tag and it doesn't need any ending tags. For example, BR is one of the single tag, and similarly HR is also one of the single tag which doesn't need any closing ending tags. So today we are going to learn the usage of these single tags. Let's go to our coding. For example, if we need one horizontal line just below this heading 2 pair tags, we can add the horizontal lines just adding one single tag is HR. This single HR tag works for display horizontal line in our web page. Just save it and check it out in our browser. Now we have one horizontal line just below the pair tag title. Similarly, we can type the HR code as a HR /. The function is the same, we get the same horizontal line in our browser. The function of adding slash in these single tags are also used for in XHTML. But the functions of the both are same. Similarly, if you want to break line just after these tags and this for example line should become just below of this line, we can use BR tag for breaking lines. Just add this BR tag where we need the line break. For example, I'm adding just after this tag and enter the BR and save it, and let's check it out in our browser. We have one line break just after this tag. Similarly, if you want more than one line breaks, you can add more BRs where you need. Just I'm going to copy and paste same code 2-3 times on the same place and save it, and let's check it in our browser. We can see each BR tags make one line break, so we added 3 line breaks, 3 BR tags, so we have 1, 2 and 3 line breaks after this sentence. While coding HTML and it becomes a big file, and while we opened after a long time, we may forget why we added this code in this place. So to remember its purpose or to define anything else, we can add comments in our HTML code. To add comments, we need exclamatory sign, double dash, and then you can write what is your comments. After then, just give another 2 dash and close the bracket. This is the syntax of giving comments in HTML. And this reminds why we added these 2-3 BRs in our HTML code. Or you can define anything else for your any phrases or any group of codes. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. There is nothing changed in our code. Even we added this comment code. So these comments codes are not for the clients. In this way you can add as much you require your comments in your HTML coding. While we type any paragraph of text in HTML and save, and when checked in our browser, it will not be so as we type in our coding. We made two paragraphs in our coding, but in our browser there is only one paragraph. In this case, to make and setting paragraphs, we need to use paragraph setting tags. For making any block of text as a paragraph, we have one tag called p tag. Just add a p tag in the front of paragraph and close it this p tag after that paragraph ends. Similarly, if you have two paragraphs, use another p tag for another paragraph. Now save it our code. Let's check it in our browser. Now we have two paragraphs in our browser. A paragraph tag P automatically adds align spaces in each paragraph. Similarly, if you type a text in HTML and various designs making the spaces gaps and save it, but while we check it in a browser, there will not be any spaces in the middle of any text. The given spaces will be automatically trimmed by the HTML code, and in browser it will not be displayed. Whenever if you need any text formats, what you type in your HTML should be displayed same as in the browser. Then at that condition, you can use one another tag called pre-tag. By using pre-tag, we can display the text in the same manner what we typed in our HTML. Now inside this pre-tag, what we typed any text designs with spaces, it will be displayed same in the browser. Like I'm typing like this N, then enter one tab, E, tab, P, tab, A, tab, L. So I made my text like in this pattern, and I want to display same in the browser. For this kind of purpose, you can use this pre-tag. Let's check it out in our browser. Before this, save this code and let's check in our browser. Now we got the same pattern what we typed in our HTML code. Similarly, while we typing any paragraphs, if we need some block quotes in our paragraph, we can use another HTML tag, that is block quote. Let's make one sentence of this paragraph as a block quotes. Just add the block quotes tag in which text you want to make block quote. Save our code and let's check it in our browser. As we applied block quotes in this sentence, HTML made this sentence as a block quotes and give some space in the front and up and down. In this way, we can make changes of the settings of paragraph in our HTML. We can use alignments in any tags of the HTML. Most of the tags have alignment attributes in it. For this, we can add align attribute in tags. For example, if you need to align this paragraph as a left, right, or center, or also can be done justify. To do this, just add a align attribute, ALIGN align, and give the value what you want. To align right side, we use right, and save it and check it in our browser. Now our first paragraph is aligned on the right side. And this way, if we need to align it in a center, we can use center as a value of align attribute. Now the paragraph is aligned in center. Similarly, we can change it to left side, which is the default alignment. Also, we can make justify as our paragraph alignment. Now our first paragraph is justified. Similarly, we can use these align attributes in each tags we use. For example, for this heading 1, we can also align it as per our requirement. If we need to align to center, we can use align attribute and give the value center. Now our heading 1 is aligned to the center. If we added one horizontal line, and save it, now check, we have one horizontal line, and if we want to make this horizontal line width little bit smaller and it also be centered alignment as heading, we can do this just adding few attributes on it. On HR tag we have also align and give the value center. For changing the width of the horizontal line, we just add the attribute width and give the value of the weight in pixel. I am just giving 50 pixel as its weight. Just save our code and check it in our browser. Now we can see the horizontal line is just 50 pixel and is aligned to the center. To make little bit larger its weight, we can make changes in our width value. Just make it 500 and save our code and refresh our browser. In this way, we can also change the color of our horizontal line. Just add a color attribute and give the value of color name or color hex code and save it, and let's check it in our browser. Now we have a red color horizontal line that is aligned to the center. Also, we have another alignment tag that is used for centering any object of our HTML code. If you want to center all the codes of our body, just give a center tag in the start and end it at the end of whole body and save it. Now check it in our browser. Now all our body elements are aligned to the center. Only the first paragraph is not aligned to the center because the first paragraph we made it justify directly in that main P tag. So this center tag works for all the tags that are inside it except those which have already dedicated alignment settings. We can use this center tag to any objects like images, any paragraphs, headings, horizontal lines, or anything else that are in our HTML coding. On my code, here I have one heading, one horizontal line, and two paragraphs. Now I want to animate one scrolling text just below this horizontal line. For this, we can add one single tag just below the HR tag or where you want to make marquee your text or any images. Just add the marquee tag where you need. And inside this marquee tag, add the object what you want to make animate. You can animate any text, images, tables, or anything else that added inside this marquee tag. For now, I am just writing some text. Now save our coding and let's check it in our browser. Yeah, you can see this text is scrolling from the right and going towards the left. If you want to change the direction that marquee scrolling should be start, we can just add a attribute direction in our marquee tag. Just add direction and give a value right. Now save it and check it in our browser. Now we can see our Marquee text is started from left side and goes toward the right side. Similarly, if you want to add background to this Marquee text area, we can just add a BG color attribute and give the value any color name and save it. Now check it in our browser. Now we have a background color for the Marquee. After then, if we need to make smaller this area and fits the same like as just below of this horizontal line, we can make changes the width of this Marquee area. For this, we have a width attribute. Just add this width attribute and just give the value for the width. I am giving 500 pixels as a width, and it's now 500 pixel width, but we want just below of this horizontal line, so now we have to align this Marquee as a center that it matches and became just below of this horizontal line. For this, I'm just going to include this Marquee tag within the center tag. Now our Marquee is center aligned and just below of the horizontal line. Now we want to change the animation style of this text, and we want to make this Marquee animation for just once on the start. For this, we can add one attribute called behavior, and in this value just write SLIDE slide and save it. Now let's check it in our browser. Now it started from the left side as a default and goes to the end and stopped, and this will be only once happen while this page will be loaded. When you refresh, it will start again that animation, but just for once it will be slide. If you want back again the same animation, the scoring, you can change the behavior as a scroll instead of this slide. Scroll is a default behavior of Marquee tag. So if you don't write any behavior, it automatically does the scrolling behavior. Again, we have another type of behavior which will bouncing back from that end of the area. Let's check it out. In the value of behavior, just type alternate and save it. Now our Marquee will be bouncing back at the end, and same on the left side too. In this way, you can make changes of the animation. Similarly, we can also animate the Marquee text up and down. For this, I'm going to change the direction to downward, so I put the down. Just add one more attribute to our Marquee, that height, like 100 pixels. Now our text is alternately bouncing up and down. Along with, we can also change the speed of this animation. We have two attributes for changing the speed and the motion of this animation. Now I added 4 Marquees, and each Marquee have different scroll amounts. Now save it and check how it looks in our browser. Wow, we can see the marquees speed are different from each other. The first one is little bit slower than the second, and second one is little bit slower than the third one, and same on as others. Now let's test it with the scroll delay attributes. Now I made changes as a scroll delay value in our marquees. Now let's check it what it happens in our browser. Now you can see that the how much delay amount value is bigger, that moves little bit slow, and the smaller delay is moves faster. So by using these two attributes, we can control the speed of our Marquee animation. When you need to change the font name and font color and font sizes for any text in HTML, we can use font tag in HTML. We have default font for our text in our HTML web page. But when you want to change the different font for the text on your web page, we can use the font tag. Let's try for this sentence. We can use this font tag to apply the different font for this sentence. I enclose this text by this font tag, and on this font tag I add an attribute called face, and on value of this attribute face we give the font name. For example, for making impact as a font name for this sentence, we can give the value the font name impact for this face attribute of font tag. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. We can see the text we applied for a font impact has applied to this sentence. Similarly, if you want to make a font size little bit bigger or smaller, we can give the font size on this font tag too. For this, just add the attribute size and give the font size. I'm going to give 25 as a font size. Let's check it in our browser. We can see the size of this sentence has increased. Similarly, if you want to make the font size smaller, just change the font size value to lower. Like this, I'm going to give just 2 for the font size. Now we can see the font size has reduced, and also by using the font tag we can change the color of the text where you want. Just add a color attribute and give the value for a color name red, and let's make little bit bigger font size and save it, and let's check it in our browser. Now we have red colored big size text in our web page. Similarly, you can change the font size, color and font names for any text or text blocks by enclosing that text or text blocks by the font tag. And also on our face attribute, we can add more than one font by adding it in the value of the face attribute using comma separator. The advantages of using these multiple font names is whenever there is the given fonts are not available in the system, it will go to the second one. And similarly, if the second font also is not available in the system, it goes to the third one. In this way, we can use this font tag wherever we want for a one single sentence or a paragraph. Just enclose the text or text blocks by the font tag. If you want to insert any images in your web page, we can do easily just using one tag. By using just one tag, we can insert images in our web page. If you want to insert an image just after this sentence, then in our code, just after this sentence, just add a tag img. And on this img tag, we have an attribute src. This attribute src is used for give the source of our image. First of all, we have to copy that image into our main root folder. So I had already copied one image, workplace, on our main website folder, and our index file and the image file is in the same location of our website folder. So just type the name of the image on the value of src attribute, workplace.jpg. Don't forget to add the extension of the image. If you forget to add the extension, it will not be work. So we have to put the full name and its extension. After then, just save it and check it in our browser. We inserted an image in our web page. If you want to resize your image, we can change its height and width, just adding the height and width attributes in our image tag. To resize any images in our HTML, just add the width attribute on our image tag and give the value for the width 600 pixel, and you can also add height attribute to define the height of the image 50 pixel. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Now we have an image with a 600 pixel wide and 50 pixel height. But yes, it's destroyed our image and made stretched. So whenever you give the value of width or height, only use width or height only. Because if you give just a width only and save it, HTML gave the automatic height for the same ratio of our original image. Just you can give one value width or height, so it will not be stress our images and will not be change the ratio of image width and height. And it will be good, and it will be better, and it will and for professional web page designing, it would be better to make the exact required width and height images on the image processing software. And here in HTML we just add the images. We do not change the width and height of the images because we have already done it in our Photoshop or any image processing softwares. So when we didn't apply any width and height values, the image will be inserted as its original size. Now, whenever a browser can't load the image, we can give some text instead of image, that people can know some picture about this title is here. For that purpose, we just add one attribute called alt and type something else. This is image. You can define whatever any text you want to define about that image. Similarly, we can give another attribute called title for our image, that it gives the title for our image. You can give the title of that image like work place and save it. Now on our browser, whenever we hover our mouse, it will show the title of this image. In this way, we can add any images wherever we want in our web page. And if you want to add any links on our image, for example, if someone clicks on the area of this laptop, it will redirect to the link. Similarly, we can give the portion of this mobile phone or this copy. We have to use image map in our HTML to give the different hyperlinks for separate areas of one image. For that, we have to know the coordinates of this area of an image. The coordinates will work as x1 and y1 coordinates. For the left top corner will be 0, 0. Similarly, the maximum height and width will be the right bottom corner coordinate. So according to this, we can give the coordinates of some respective areas of our image. Let's try one example. Now we have one tag map, and we name that tag for a work map. And under this tag, we added 3 areas. And we use this area tag to give the area coordinates of our image. And on this area tag, we can define a shape. For a rectangle, we use rect. For a circle, we use circle for the shape attribute. After then, we have the coordinates for that area where we want to give the links on our image. I have the coordinates that will be lies on that computer of our image, and when anybody clicks on the computer, it goes to the link computer.html. Similarly, I added another coordinates for the phone and cup of coffee. After defining the areas of the map, now we will apply this map on our image by adding one attribute called useMap. On this useMap value, we give the name of our map. For giving the name of the map, we use #sign and then the name of our map. Now save our coding and let's check it in our browser. We can see that whenever I hover my mouse on this laptop, it changes to the hand tool. That shows it has a link. And whenever I go to the out of this laptop, it auto changes to the arrow pointer. That means there is no links. Similarly, while I go to this phone, it will change the pointer, and also on this cup of coffee. Now when I click and hold my mouse, we can see the area of our image map. Similarly, we can check the image map area on this phone, and for this coffee where we use our circle image map. And we can click these images to redirect to the respective links what we added in our code. For adding audio clips in our web page, we have one tag audio in HTML5. For this, place your cursor where you want the audio clip in your web page. If you want your audio clip just after this first paragraph, then after this paragraph just add a tag audio, and on our first starting tag we will give the attribute src for source of our audio clip. And we know that before adding any objects, audio, video, images or anything else, we need to copy that file into our main website folder. So I already have one entire MP3 and audio clip in my website, and this audio clip and our multimedia file is in the same location. That's why I'm just going to give the name and the extension of this audio clip. Entire .mp3. After then, in between of this audio tag, we can give some messages if there is something problem to loading this audio. For example, your browser not supporting audio tag. So this text will be only seen in our web page whenever our audio tag is not supported by the browser. And then we have to give another attribute to display the controls for playing our audio clip. For this, we have an attribute called controls. And in the value of this control, we are not giving any values on this. So just delete this. Just we give the controls attributes on our audio without any values and save it. Now check it in our browser. Now we have one audio clip with its playing and volume controls. In this way, we can use these controls to play and pause and change the volume level of our audio clip. Similarly, we have another attribute called loop. And in this also we are not giving any value, so just type loop as an attribute in our audio tag. Now save it and let's check in our browser. This attribute loop works whenever our audio clip and then it auto restart from the starting. Let's check it. We can see it started again from the starting. In this way, we can add videos in our web page too. For this, we have another tag, video, and same as audio, we will give the source of our video by using src tag and give the video clip address and the value of this src. We have already copied one video in our folder and we gave the name s5, so I'm just going to give the name and the extension of this video clip in our video tag, s5.mp4. And for controlling our video, we need controls, so just add controls attribute and let's check it in our browser. Now we can see we have a video with controls in our web page, but the video size is very large because we did not define any height and width of our video, so it takes its original size. To change the height and width of our videos, we can just add width height attributes in our video tag. So I'm just going to add width and give it 640 pixels, and I'm not going to give height because after giving the width value, HTML automatically generates the height of the video according to its ratio. Now let's check in our browser. Now we can see our video with 640 pixels of width is ready to play in our web page. Now we can play, just click on this play button. In this way, we can use the controls panel of this video to control our video playing in our web page. And same as on audio, we can give loop on our video too. That makes if video playing ends, it automatically restarts from the starting. Basically, hyperlinks are of three types. One is internal and external, and third one is email hyperlinks. Internal hyperlinks are that kind of hyperlinks that are connected internally either on its own page or inside its website. For example, in my website I have about.html page, index.html page and multimedia.html page. So connecting my own pages of my website are called internal links. Now when I click on the table of contents introduction, then it will go to this introduction. Similarly, when I click on the objectives, it go to the objectives title in the same web page. These are also called internal links with using anchor points or bookmarking. Let's start making hyperlinks on them. The syntax of hyperlink is a tag with the attribute href, and the value of this href we will give the address of our page. The syntax of making hyperlink is enclose the text which one you want to make hyperlink by a tag, and on the attribute href give the address of the page where the page should be redirected. So on my first I give the index.html, on my second I give the multimedia.html for this multimedia text, and the third one I gave the about.html for this about us tag. Now let's check it in our project. Now we have these three hyperlinks. When I click on this home, it will open the same page what we are opening, so we do not see any changes. But when I click on this multimedia, now it goes to the multimedia page. Similarly, when I click on this about us, it opens the about us page. But as default, we can see that the link page are open on the same tab, and if you want to make the link pages should be open on the new tab, we have another attribute for it. For that, we just add the attribute target, and for new tab we will give underscore blank and save it. Now check it in our browser. I get the target for this multimedia link, so when I click on this multimedia, it opens on a new tab. Similarly, we have other targets values, like we use this underscore blank value to open the link document in the new window or tab, and this underscore self value opens the link document in the same frame as it was clicked. This one is the default one. And underscore parents to open the link document in the parent frame, and underscore top opens the link document in the full body of window, and giving a specific frame name opens the link document in that named frame. Similarly, we can give the links for the same page but different areas. Like when I click on this introduction page, it should jump to the introduction title. Similarly for the objectives and conclusion. For this, first of all, we need to name that title or area. For that, we have the same tag a, but now an attribute we will give name and give the name for this title, and just close the a tag. Now we have to add the hyperlinks for all these text. I done the hyperlink of these three texts by our areas. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Now let's click on the introduction. It goes to the introduction. Now same as objective, it jumps to the objectives, and when I click on conclusion, it jumps to the conclusion. Similarly, if you want to give email hyperlink on our this contact us link, we just use the same tag in, and on the value of href, just we use mail to : and give the email address where your email to be sent. Thus, giving the mail to an email address for the value of href, it will convert it to the email hyperlink. When I click on this, it opens the default email processing software like Outlook on your system. Similarly, we can connect our web page links to the other websites like google.com, youtube.com. For this, we just have to give the full address of that website. For example, I added a Google menu, and on the value of href, I give the full address https://www.google.com. Now save it and let's check it in browser. Now we have a menu Google. When I click on this, it opens the google.com on our website. So these types of links which goes out of our website are called external hyperlinks. To create table in HTML5, we have a tag table. This table tag creates the main outline of our table. After then, we have two sections, one for row and another is for columns. To create rows, we use tr tag. And inside this row, we will create the columns. For creating the columns, we use td tag. And inside of this td, we can give the value for that cell. Similarly, insert this td tags how much columns you require. Now we have one table with one row and three columns. Similarly, to create more rows, we just copy this tr tags and paste it how much rows we want. For now, I am just creating 3 rows table with 3 columns each. That means 3 by 3 table. And I am just giving the values for the cells. Now, as a default, our table will be aligned to the left side and the table does not have any border lines. So, if you want to make your table alignment to the center, we can use the align attribute on this table tag. And the value will give center to align our table to the center. And to give the border, we will use the border attribute. And in the value, we will give the width of the border. For now, I am just giving 1 as a border width. Now save it. Now check it in our browser. Now we have 3 by 3 table and we have in title in our first row and 2 values in the second and third rows. As we know that in table it will be looks nice that the title row should be bold. For this in table we can use th tag instead of td. The th tag is used to make table headings. It is same as the td, but only difference is it acts as a header of the table. So in the first row I am just going to use th and another I am just leaving as a td. Now save it and now check it in our browser. We will get a bold title in our first row of our table. Now we can have another some attributes for our table tag. For example, if you want to make the width of this table a little bit bigger, we can use a width tag in our table. Width, and you can give either in pixel value or in percentage basis. For example, I am just going to give 65% and save it. Now my table is 65% of my screen size. And if you want to make the spaces between the text and the cell margin, we have another attribute for our table tag, that is cell padding. Cell padding is used for making spaces between text and the cell border. For now, I'm just giving 10. Now check it in how it changes. Now we can see the spaces between the text and the cell margin get little bit bigger than before. You can change how much you want in the value of cell padding. Similarly, we can also make spaces between one cell to another. For this, we have another attribute called cell spacing. And on this too, I'm just going to give 10 as a value. Now our cell will be little bit far from one to another. After this, if you want to merge the cells either in the row or in column, for example, to merge these two columns on the TD tag, we will add an attribute called col span for spanning columns, and the value how many columns you are going to merge give the number of that cells. For now, I'm just going to merge 2, so I'm giving 2 as a value, and while I merge these 2 columns, now I have only all total 2 columns in my second row. Now let's check it. We can see our 2 columns are merged in this second row. In this way, if you want to merge 2 cells of different rows, we can use row span attribute. For this, I'm going to add attribute row span on this TD tag and giving 2 as a value. So this TD is merged with this TD, so I'm just going to delete this one because it has already merged with the first cell. Now save it. Now check it in our browser. These 2 cells of different rows got merged. Let's take one example. I have created one table in Microsoft Word. Now we want to make this design of table in our HTML. Now let's start coding in our HTML. First of all, we have a table tag. After then, tr for first row. Now as a heading, we are using th. Now in our first cell, we have a value Tutor Pratik. So I'm just going to copy this value and paste it in this. And we can see that there is 2 rows and 2 columns are merged altogether. So on this first ts, we will give row span equal to 2 and col span equal to 2. Now on our second cell of this first row, we have one single cell which is merged with 1, 2, 3, 4 columns. So in our second code, th equal to col span equal to 4 and the value here and closing the th. Now we finished our first row, and for second row I am giving another tr. And we can see that in our second row, these 2 columns are already taken by the first cell of first row. So we are just going to add this remaining 4 cells. After then, for third row, again we are going to create another tr. And now on our third row, the first cell of third row is merged with 2 rows. So in our first cell of our third row, we will use row span equal to 2, and on the value we have gender. And then on our second cell, we have the title value male. Now on our remaining 4 cells are normal data cells, so I'm just going to give TD tags on these 4 cells and giving just random numbers. Now let's go to the 4th row. On our 4th row, the first cell has already taken by the 3rd row, first cell, so we are just going to add 1 header cell and 4 normal data cells. Just changing the random values. Now we done all our 4 rows and the 6 columns. Now for alignment of the table and some borders, we will use the same attributes we used as in before table. Now just save it our code and let's check it in our browser. Now we can see we have the same table design in our HTML what we made in our Microsoft Word. In this way, just by using these attributes and table tags, we can design any kind of tables in our HTML web page. In HTML5, we have some new features of HTML forms. Like we have new elements like progress, meter, data list. Similarly, we have some new input types like email, search, URL, and etc. So now using HTML5, we can make more interactive forms in web page. Let's begin with creating a simple HTML form. For creating form in HTML, we use a tag form. And inside this form, we can add a lot of elements that are available in the HTML. For example, some text boxes, labels, submit buttons, radio buttons, etc. For now, I created just 2 text boxes and 1 button. Let's make our form a little bit organized. Now we added some table structures for organize our form elements in the web page. Now it looks a little bit better than before. These form elements are used to get data from the clients and sent to the server. For this purpose, we have to add some attributes in our form tag that we can define our server page and the method of sending data to the server. On our form tag, we can add an attribute name. The name attribute gives the identification for our form. After then, we have another attribute, action. This action attribute has the value of our server page address. For example, let's give the value server.php. The information that get from this form will be submitted to this server.php file. And the another attribute of our form tag is method. In the value of this method, we have 2 types of methods. One is get and another is post. The function of these 2 values of method are different. As a default, we have a get method for our form. Let's have a test of this get method of our form. Now, I will give some name for first name like John and another name and giving the Smith as a last name. Now, when I click on this submit button, it redirects to the server.php file. But now we don't have this server.php file, so it's showing the error file not found. But we can see that the function of get method of our form. On the address of the page, we can see that fname equal to John, lname equal to Smith, and submit button equal to submit. These are the values we typed in our text box of our form. However, when we use this get method, the form data will be visible in the page address. So this get method is mostly used for only query strings and only for non-secure data. Let's look an example for get method. In Google, when we search anything else, Tutor Pratik, we can see that in our page address, there are the informations which we typed in the form and other informations available in the page address. That shows that Google using get method for query strings. Now let's send this value to post. Now again I'm giving the value for first name John and the last name Smith and clicking on this submit button. Now we can see that on our page address bar, it's not showing any information about what we submitted in our form elements. That's why we should always use the post method for sensitive personal information. It doesn't display the form data in the page address field. Today in our session, we are going to learn some basic input attributes for our HTML form. So for insert form in our HTML web page, we need a form tag, and inside this we will add the input elements that required for us to create our HTML form. For making inputs for username, we will use an input tag with the type attribute of value text, and we will give the name user name for this input element. By using this name, we can get the value that entered on this input element. So giving name is very important for our HTML form. Now let's save it and check it in our browser. Now we can see that we have one text box just after our username text, where we can type any text on this text box. If you want to make some changes for this text box, like just giving to type 10 characters only, for this on our input tag we will add an attribute max length and 10. This 10 value makes our text box maximum length is only 10 characters. Save it and now check it in our browser. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 10. Now whatever I type, it will not be typed in this text box because it has the maximum limit of 10 characters only. Similarly, we can also add a password box in our HTML form. For creating a password box, we use input tag, and on the attribute of type we will give the value password, and on name we will give pwd for this password element. Now we will get a password box, so what you type in this text will not be displayed to the user. Similarly, if you want to give some various choices for your client, like for hobbies, we will use input tag with a attribute of type giving the value checkbox, and we will add another attribute for this input type value, and on this we will give the value whenever the user check this box, this value will be transferred to the server. We created 3 options checkbox for this hobbies. Now check it in our browser. On our hobbies, we have three options like dancing, singing, and traveling. So users can either click in one option or all of the options they like. This type of checkbox are used for the multiple choice options. For now, we have to click on this small box to check it or uncheck it. It will be easier if someone clicks on this text, and it will be effect on this checkbox too. So, making this effect, we can use label element for this text. Let's try on our code. Now, we have added a label tag for all our three checkboxes. And also in our checkbox, we added another attribute, ID. And on the value of this ID, we are going to copy this ID value to our labels for attribute value. This makes the connection between this label to this element. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Before, while we're not using the label tag, we have to click on this small checkbox. This makes little bit difficult for the user to click on this small checkbox. So now we have added the label for each checkbox. Now to tick on this checkbox, we can just click on this label. Similarly, to uncheck, we can just click on this label. Now we have to add a gender, and on gender we will give a radio buttons. To create a radio button, when we're using any radio buttons, the main thing we have to remember is the name of all the radio buttons should be the same for getting data for a single purpose. Now on our gender, we have male and female. So when I click on male and again click on female, it automatically deselects this male, and similarly it will switch between male and female. If you change the name of the radio buttons different, let's check how it works. Now when I click on male and click on again female, you can see that both male and female are selected. So keep remember, on using the radio buttons, always use the same name for all radio buttons you made. And if you want to get some attached file from your clients, we can add the attribute input tag. On the value of this type, we will give now file as a value. And finally, we need one submit button at the end of our form. For this, we will use input tag, and on the value for type, we will type submit. And on value attribute, we will give some text that displays on our button. Send it now. Now we have one button. This is the submit button. So when the clients enter their form, it will be redirected to our action page. Similarly, we have another two buttons, input type, reset. This reset button makes clear our form. We can use any images or our own design buttons for submit. For this, we have a input tag, and under value for this type we will give image, and for the source of image we will give src attribute, and on this value we will give the address of that image. We have one button.png image in our website, so just I'm going to add this button.image as a value. Now let's check it in our browser. But this image is little bit bigger, so we can resize this image using the height and weight attributes. Like I'm using the width attribute and just giving 320 pixel. Now save it, and now let's check it how it looks. In this way you can design your one button and insert it into your HTML form. Along this we have one another attribute, that is input type equal to hidden and value hidden. Save it. Now let's check it in our browser. The hidden element will not be shown in our HTML page. This input type hidden is used to transfer some hidden information like some session ID. Similarly, in HTML we have one another input type which can be used for searching purpose. For our search box I am giving a name Q, and after this I added one input type for submit button. For the value of this element I am giving search now. Now let's check it in our browser. We can see one text box for searching and search now button in our top of our form. By using these various input elements, let's make an organized form design. Here I created two forms. First form I gave a name search form. This form is used to search in our website. So I just gave one search input element and then a submit button for this form. After then, in our next form, I gave a name it for info form, and inside it I added a first name, last name, username, password, checkbox selection for hobbies, ready buttons for our gender, and submit button for submit this form, and the reset button for reset this form. And at last also I use one hidden element that is used for submit our session ID, and next I also added one image button to submit our form. Now let's check it in our browser. Here we can see that we have this search box on our right side. We can search anything else in this form. Similarly, in our second form we have some inputs for getting information from our clients. In HTML5 we have some new input types like color, date, email, number, range, style, URL, etc. So let's begin with email address. For this we will add email input type in this HTML form tab. Now we have one label for email text, and then we have one input type attribute email to get email address of our visitors as a value of this form, and to submit this value we have one submit button. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. If you type something normal text and click the submit, it shows the error that please include an @ in the email address. So as a default in HTML5 we have a pre-designed email input type which validates the input text is email or not. Let's take another input type, URL. The type URL input element is used for specifying a web address. Let's check it in our browser. Now we have one another box which accepts only URL addresses. For example, we can now insert our web address in this URL field. If you add some normal text, it also shows error, please enter a URL. Similarly, let's go to the telephone number attribute type. The type tel input element is used for accepting telephone numbers. We can use this tel attribute for getting telephone numbers for our visitors. Let's check another input type, number. The input type number is used for accepting only number values. We can use this number type for age values. It only accepts number. Also, we have some features like increase numbers or decrease numbers in this input type. Now let's check the range input type. The input type range is similar to the input type number, but the input type range also displays a slider control on the page. The range type is used when the exact value is not required in the input. For example, an online survey for asking the client to rate the product may not be receiving exact values in the rating. So, for this input type range, we have minimum value and maximum value that users can select between these two numbers. Let's check it in our browser. Now here we have one range type, and from this users can change their value by sliding this range. HTML5 has introduced several new input types for date and time. Let's begin with date type. This input type contains only date in year, month, and day format. The time part is not supported by date type. By using this date input type, we can able to open the calendar and choose the required date. In this way, if you want to provide to choose only the month, you can change this date type to month. Now we have a month input type. On this, we can choose only a month with a year. In this way, you can also make limitations to choose only week. For this, we will change this input type for week. Now on this week input type, we can just choose a single week. And along with this, if you want to add time field, we can use time input type. The input type time displays a time of a day in hours and minutes format. Now by using this time input type, we can choose required time by selecting hour, minutes, and AM or PM. Let's create one color picker in our HTML form. HTML5 provides a predefined interface for selecting the colors using input type color. Let's check it how this color input type looks in our HTML form. Now we have color input type in our form. By using this color input type, we can choose our required color by changing the sliding value or making the changes on this RGB, HSL or hex number, and just click on the required color. Then when you submit this form, the color hex code will be submitted. In this way, by using this new HTML5 input types, you can create interactive HTML forms in your website. In our previous videos, we learned about form element input type and its various attributes. Along with this HTML input form element, we have also some another form elements. For example, to make a drop-down list, we have a form element select. And inside this select tag, to give the options for our drop-down list, we will use a tag option. Let's create some options for our select element. Now we added one drop-down list in our HTML5 by using this select tag, and for giving the various options for this drop-down list, we will use this option tag, and we will give the selectable value inside this option tag. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Here, by using this select tag, now we have created one drop-down list with these 5 options values. You can add more values for this drop-down list by adding the options inside this select tab. Similarly, if you want to get some paragraph of text from your user, you can use another from element text area. This text area tag provides a space to type some paragraph of text by the user and submit to our server. And inside this text area, we can add the attribute goals. This attribute defines the width of our text area. For example, I'm just giving 10 for this goals attribute. And to define the height of our text area, we will use rows attribute, and inside this, I'm just giving 5 as a value for these rows. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Now we have 10 column by 5 rows of text area. You can change these rows and columns values to make your required area of your text area. $100 by 10. Now we have a text area with 100 columns wide, 10 rows high. In this way, you can change your text box area size as per your requirement. In HTML5, we have a pre-designed submit buttons, reset buttons. Except using these reset or submit buttons, we can create another fresh button by using this button element. And inside of this button tag, we can give the value for this button to display on it. Now we have one fresh button. For now, by clicking on this button, it doesn't work anything else because it is a fresh new button and it has no any actions to be done when it is clicked. To give some actions for this button, we can give some JavaScript code in the attribute of this button tag on click. Now when we click on this click me button, it will pop up one dialog box with showing the text hello. Let's check it in our browser. Now when I click on this click me button, it will display one pop-up box with a text hello. Similarly, in your HTML form, you can make some groups of your input types. For this, we will use a field set and legend tags. To create group in your HTML form, we can use this field set tag. To give a title for this group, we will use legend tag, and for giving the title for this group, we will use a legend tag. And inside it, we can add our required input types. Now save it and let's check it how it looks in our HTML form. By using this field set and legend tag, the group title and the boundary for that group will be automatically generated. In HTML5, we have some new form elements like data list, progress, meter, etc. Let's take the new data list form element. Now we have data list in our HTML form, which provides a text field with a set of predefined list of options that we added on this options value. Now let's check it in our browser. Now we have this data list and the values that we entered in our data list options. Similarly, we have another new form element, progress. Let's check it how it looks. The form element progress is used to make a progress bar in our web form. We can give the value for this progress as a current value and max value for the maximum value. Now we have one progress element in our form which shows the downloading status. For now I gave the current value 35, so it is filled up to the 35% one. If I change to this value to 90, then as our maximum value is 100, our progress will be filled up to 90%. Later, by using the JavaScript or any programming code, we can make this progress bar moving when our task is completed. As similar to progress bar, we have another new form element, meter. Here I added new form element, meter. It is just similar to this progress bar, but the difference is in our meter we have minimum attribute, but in our progress there is no any minimum attribute. So we can use this meter for scoring our marks progress, where we can give the minimum value and maximum value and the obtained value. If the minimum score to get passed is 100 and the full marks value is 400, and the student got 180 score, then let's check how it looks in our web page. Now we can see the score bar is very low because the student just get the 180 marks. If he got 300 marks, then the meter will be increased. In this way, if you change the minimum value like 200 and he got only 150 marks, that means the student is failed in his exam. In this condition, the meter shows 0. Even the student has scored 150, the meter shows the 0 because our minimum value is 200. So we can use this meter for this score of marks like purpose, and for downloading status or other progressing status we can use this progress element. In this way, by using this basic and new HTML5 form elements, we can make our form more interactive. For now, we have one text box for name and second one for address and one subject box. While we design our HTML form, all the fields will not be compulsory. For example, the name field, which I added an asterisk sign, is compulsory and the address is optional. So users must enter the name in this field. For making this type of validation, we can use the new features of HTML5 form attribute. To make this name text field for compulsory, we will add one attribute for this name text box, required equal to true. You can add the required attribute and the value true for that input type which you want to make compulsory. Let's check it in our browser. Now when I click this submit button, the name field shows the error, please fill out this field. Means without entering any values for this name, we can't submit this form. Similarly, we can use another new form attribute to guide our visitors what they have to write in this text box. For this, we can add an attribute placeholder. And in the value of placeholder, you can give instructions to the visitors what they have to write in that box. I added placeholder attribute in my both text box and gave some instructions they have to input in that box. Now let's check it in our browser. So by using this placeholder attribute, you can give instructions to the visitors to write in that box. In this way, you can also make some patterns to guide your visitors what kind of format they have to input on the respective text box. To test this pattern attribute, let's create one another field, telephone number. Now we added two tail input types, and also we added pattern attribute to guide our user for required pattern. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Now we have a tail input type with using the pattern, and also we added a title attribute to guide our users to type in this format. So when we hover the mouse, it shows the format that the user should be input and the required information for the user for inputting the values on these boxes. Along with this, we have another new form attribute, autofocus. HTML5 has introduced autofocus attribute for the form element. The autofocus attribute will focus on the input field on page load. For this purpose, we have to add autofocus attribute on our input type. Autofocus. And for autofocus attribute, we do not need any value. So just add the autofocus on our required input type. Now save it. And now when I refresh this page, our cursor will be automatically goes to this address field. In this way, this autofocus attribute works. In this way, by using this HTML5 new form attributes, you can validate your HTML5 and make interactive changes in your HTML5 to make user friendly. Let's start coding for our HTML registration form. To make our registration form organized, we will use a table for organized layout. And on our first TD, we will use span 2 to merge the two cells of our row, and inside our this first TD, we will add our website logo. In next TR, on first TD, we will add our banner. On next TD, we will insert our input types for our form. To make our form align to the center, we will add a align to our table tag center. And same for our first tier. To align our logo, we will add a center align attribute. Up to now, we have our website logo at the center of our web page and a banner on next row of our table. Now we have to add our form elements on this right side of this banner. For this, on the second TD, we will again create another table, and on our first row we will give a title sign up. After, on next tier, in first cell we will give a label username. As username is a compulsory field, so we will use an asterisk sign. Let's add 4 attributes for our label and give a ID my user. Now in next TD, we will going to add an input type text and ID my user, and also we are giving the name my user, and this is the compulsory field, that's why we are going to use required true. And again, let's give a placeholder username. In this way, we will add more input types. For this, I am just going to copy this TR and just paste it and just make the changes what we require. For now, I am going to add one password field. That's why I am going to change my PWD for the label name, password, and password is also a compulsory field, that's why we require this asterisk symbol. And in the input type field we will use password, ID my PWD, name my PWD. Similarly, let's add more input types. Email address, input type is email, ID my email, name my email. Email address is also compulsory, so we need this required. And on placeholder we will change it valid email address. Now let's create for date of birth my DOB, date of birth. In input type we will use date, ID my DOB, name my DOB, and on this date attribute we doesn't require this placeholder, so I'm just going to delete this placeholder. Now on next we are going to add a gender, and in this input type we will use a radio, gender as ID, and again gender as name. And we need a value for this radio button, male. It's going to delete these placeholders, and after then a text male. Similarly, let's add another two options. Female, order. Okay. After then, let's add another field for getting the URL. My URL website, and we are going to make this website as optional, so I just deleted the asterisk from the label. And for URL, we will use a type URL and ID my URL, name my URL, and this is not a required compulsory field, so I'm just going to delete this required attribute. And finally, we need one submit button to submit our form. For this, just add one another row, and inside one TD, just make the code span 2, and inside this TD we will use input type equal to submit, and under value registration, and we can give the name sign up. That's it. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. Great, almost we done our registration form, but we can make some changes that it looks better. Like we can make this sign up text little bit bigger. For this we are going to use heading tag. On the sign up we will add H2. Now it looks little bit better than before. Now we can make the background of our web page little bit darker, that our form will highlight it, and also we can add some spaces between two cells that it looks little bit better. So let's make some changes in our code. First of all, to change the background color of our web page, in our body tag we will add a BG color and just give a gray color of hex code CC. On the second TD where we have the form elements, we will add a BG color. For giving a white color, we have a hex code has FFFFFF. After then, to make our form wider, we will add width for our table. On our first table, we will give a width of 70%. That makes our registration form area is 70% of the screen size. And then on our two cells of this first table, we will give the first TD which contains this banner image, we will give a weight 30%, and for the second TD which contains our whole form elements, we will give a weight 70%. Now save it and let's check how our form looks now. Now we can see that our main table is now 70% of our screen size. After then, now we have to make some spaces between these form elements. For this, we will give the width for the second table to 80%, and let's make this second table align to center. Now we can see that almost our form is ready. Another thing we can do in this form is we can make this text bold. For making this text bold, we can use either a bold tag using a B tag in between these labels, or you can just change this TD to TH. If you are changing this TD to TH, this makes our text also center aligned. So if you are using the TH tag, apply another attribute align left for each TH cells. For now, I am just going to add B tag on each label, and on our submit button cell, I am just going to align to the center by using align tag in that cell center. and let's change this value to sign up now. We just add a BR tag and save it. For testing the responsibility of our web page, I'm just going to zoom in and out. Oops, we can see that our two cells are departed from each other. So to fix this error in our code, let's add an align to our banner image, align to right. This makes our image banner always attached with our form cell. Now let's check it. Now we can see that our two cells are attached whatever we zoom down or zoom in. So finally our web page is ready to publish. In this way, by using the only HTML codes, we can create some simple and sweet HTML registration forms. In HTML, to design our web page by dividing our screen, we can also use a table for dividing our screens. But for creating a responsive web page, we can use a tag div for partition our screen into various sections like headings, menu bar, sidebar, footers, etc. And for inline, we can use a tag span. But now in HTML5, we have some new layout elements like header, footer, aside, sections, articles, etc. So today we are going to use these new HTML5 layout elements to design our web layout. These tags require a CSS definition to make designed and organized web layout. So I had already linked a CSS file in our HTML. We will learn about CSS in our coming videos. For now, we are just going to learn how to use these new HTML5 layout elements. So let's begin. On our body, first of all, in our web layout, we need a header, so we use a header tag. And inside a header, we can add any text or logos. For now, I'm just going to add one text with heading 1. And after heading, let's add one menu bar by using a nav tag. And inside this nav tag, we can add the menu items by using hyperlink a tag. Up to now, in our web page, we have one header and a navigation menu bar. Now save it and let's check it in our browser. We can see that now we have one header and after that we have our navigation menu bar. If you want to change this navigation bar in the top of our page, just cut this navigation code and paste it in before the heading. Now our menu bar is on our top of our page. After this heading and navigation, we will divide this remaining screen into two parts. On our right side, we will make one partition for showing our latest post, and on our left side it will be our main body where we will add our articles. For making this partition, we will use section, and inside this section we have two parts. One is left side for our article and right side for our latest aside post. So on first, I use an article tag, and inside this article I will add some paragraphs. Just going to copy paste as a dummy text. Let's add one image. After this article, now we are going to create the right partition. For this, I'm going to use aside tag, and inside this aside tag I'm just giving some contents like some pictures and some text. Now we have one article for our left partition and a site for our right partition. Now save it and let's check it how it looks in our browser. Now we can see that in this left partition we have some articles with pictures and paragraphs, and in our right side we have some pictures and some text as a latest post in our right partition. Let's make some changes to make this text justify and these images little bit smaller. Now our web layout is little bit better than before. Now the final thing we have to add is footer in the end of our page. After this section, just add a footer tag, and you can write anything else inside this footer tag what you want to display in the footer bar. For now I am just going to add a text, Tutor Pratik, and let's add a symbol registration and make this registration for superscript and copyright superscript ampersand copy 2020. To make this text center aligned, we will use a center tag. Now save it and let's check it our browser. Now we have a footer, a sidebar, main body with an article, navigation and headings. In this way we can use the new HTML5 layout elements to design our HTML web layouts. The meta tags are that type of tags which are used to identify your web page, which defines what kind of web page you have and what kind of contents are you added in your web pages. This is very important for identify your web page by search engines like Google, Bing, Yahoo, etc. As we know that search engine optimization (SEO) is very important for the websites to get ranked in the search engines like Google and get a lot of traffic to your website. So to get identified by the search engines like Google and to get a lot of traffic in your website, we have to add a meta tags in our web page. Meta tags are added in the head section. And first we will use a meta charset UTF-8. This meta tag is used to define what character sets are using in your web page, and using UTF-8 supports almost all of the characters in your web page. After that we will add another meta tag of name attribute, description, and on a content attribute we will give the description of our website that search engines can understand what kind of website is this. Like, this website is used for learning web designing. You can type your description about your website in this content attribute value. After this we will add another meta tag, meta name keywords. The keyword meta tag is also one of the most important meta tag for SEO, and inside this keyword meta tag on content attribute we will give the keywords about our website like HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery. You can give a various keywords that are related to your website in this meta tag keyword. By doing this, search engines understand that in this web page these keywords are used and this website is related to learning web designing, and HTML, CSS, JavaScript, jQuery like keywords are related to this website. So when any users searches about learning web designing, HTML, CSS, JavaScript, like any keywords in the Google like search engines, and then search engine searches for these descriptions and keywords, and when it matches, your website will be listed on the search result. Along with this, we have another meta tag, meta name author content Tutor Pratik. This meta tag is used to define the author of our website. On this content, you can give your name or your business name that it defines that this web page is related to this author. After then, we have another meta tag which is used to make our web page responsible. To make responsible web page, we have to add a meta tag, meta name viewport content weight equal to device dash weight and initial scale equal to 150. In this way, we can use these various types of meta tags to make our website recognized by the search engine, and also to make our website responsible, we have to use this kind of meta tag. First of all, let's create one simple web page which have some pictures and some titles and text. For now, we have one simple web page that having one image and one heading and one paragraph. For now, this web page is a not responsive web page, so when we open this web page in any mobile devices, the image size and the text sizes are not changed according to our device, which makes our website not looks better in the different devices. To make our web page responsible, we have to add one meta tag, meta name viewport content width equal to device dash width. This makes our web page width will be equal to the device width in which our web page is open, and then initial scale equal to 150. This initial scale value defines that how much our web page width will be scaled as respect to the device width. After adding this responsible meta tag, now our web page is responsible and is fitted according to any device size. Let's check in iPhone X. It has fitted as per the device width, and in iPad we can see that it's also fitted as per the iPad weight. After making the web page responsible, any device size will be fitted for our web page. Along with this, we can also make our images responsible, and that automatically resize according to our device weight. For this, we can use the image weight in terms of percentage. So when we give the value in terms of percentage, it automatically resizes the image according to the device size. But we can see that due to we gave the width 100%, even the original image size is smaller, it get enlarged to fit the 100% of our screen size. So the quality of image get decreased. To fix this error, we can use max weight instead of using weight. On the image tag, we will give a style attribute, and inside the value of style, we will give max weight equal to 100%. Now we can see that our image is not enlarged as per our screen size, and the given image size is 100% according to our original image weight. So this fixed our image quality decreasing error. When we check in our devices, we can see that the image is automatically fitted 100% as per the device weight. If the device width is smaller than the image size, the image auto makes 100% as per the device size. But when the device size is bigger than the image original weight, the image do not increase as per the device size. It only takes the maximum width as its original image have. Similarly, we can also make our text responsible. For making the responsible text, we can add an attribute style for a text, and inside the value of the style, we will give a font size value in terms of 10 VW. This new unit VW is used for making responsible text. 1 VW will be equal to the 1% of the device width. So our text will be resized automatically according to the device width in which the web page is opened. Let's make our paragraph also a responsive text. For that, just use a style tag, and inside we will give a font size equal to 5 VW. Now save it. Now let's check it in our browser. Now we have a responsible web page along with responsible image and text. When we change the size of the device, the text and images will automatically reduce as per the device size. You can change the size as per your requirement. For example, let's make our image percent will be 70% and our font size for heading just give 7 VW and 3 VW for our paragraph. Now we can see that our image has reduced to 70% of our device weight, and our heading is of 8 VW and paragraph text is in 3 VW. Now our web page will be fitted for any devices. In this way, we can make any web pages responsible by using this simple HTML tags. That's all for today. We will come back soon with new session videos. Until then, take care and goodbye.